guys, I actually am going to do my video today about my surgery and all of the things that led up to the surgery, and then the after effects of what I'm going through now versus what I'll continue to have going on, and my follow-up appointments, all that good stuff. So first, my actual surgery was a hysterectomy. I did a lot of research online, and I saw that a lot of people posted about their experiences and the different things that happened to them and the things that they could do or could not do. So I'm going to talk about that just a little bit. So my procedure was called a hysterectomy, and it was a laparosthetic. I think I said that correctly. Laparo something. What it means is that an actual computer or machine, a robotic piece was doing all of the surgery, and the doctor is actually in a different room maneuvering the robot. So my surgery was done robotically, which was kind of cool and amazing. So leading up to the surgery, and the reasons for me having the surgery were because I was having extensive bleeding and just long periods of time where it was just like, oh my gosh, I don't know when my cycle's coming, when it's not coming, it pop up on me. We did a couple of different preventative measures to see if that would help. I was on a couple of different birth control pills and things like that to see if they would help decrease my symptoms any or anything like that. But I've had like crazy cycles since I was probably 10. There'd be days where I would miss school because of it. So it wasn't anything new to me, but what led up to it was I found out one day I was just driving and I had dropped my kids off at school, and I just felt so freaking tired. I was just just drained. So I actually went to the urgent care, and they told me that my iron level was crazy low, and they really were trying to understand how I was actually just walking around and doing day-to-day things. So my doctor actually told me, he said, you know what, your body is just so used to feeling bad that it probably does not know how it feels to feel good. So they put me on all kind of multivitamins, iron tablets. At one point they wanted to do iron infusions, so it was just a little bit of a process. So I had to have an endoscopy and a colonoscopy to make sure that I wasn't bleeding internally, and to rule that out. So we did a couple of different tests. I was back and forth. Now remember, all of this is happening in November. So this is 2018, and we're currently in 2019. So all of this is happening, and back and forth with the gynecologists and talking about different strategies and different preventative measures and different things like that. So I'm on the birth control pill. I gain weight like crazy. So obviously they can't say that the birth control makes you gain weight or makes you hungry or does anything, because it's not conclusive. But if you do read in the some of the, what do you call it, the background of the product, and a lot of customer or consumer or people that are taking it, their reviews and results, they do say that they gain weight on the particular pill that I was on, which was the Camilla birth control. So I took it faithfully. At first it was kind of hard to remember to take it, so I would break out and start bleeding sporadically, or different things like that. But my concern was one day I was just having clots, and it's just so crazy that this was happening. I really felt like I was kind of dying, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is just crazy. I'm losing a lot of blood. So I get into my doctor and tell her what's happening. I actually showed her pictures because it was so freaking scary of what was happening. And usually you get to the doctor and you don't have those symptoms anymore, or you can't explain to them what happened. And I was like, you know what, there's no way I'm going to the doctor and I don't have pictures of this. So I showed her the pictures, and she was just amazed and shocked, and she gave me a couple of different options. And what we ended up doing at the end was deciding to have the hysterectomy, which was done robotically. So I had my surgery on July 16th. We went in, everything went fine. I did have C-section, so apparently I had a lot of scar tissue that had to be dealt with. So I have 4 little cuts on my stomach, and that's where the cameras for the robot go in, and all of that magic is done through there. So the doctor did her thing. The next day I stayed in the hospital overnight and was released the next day. I couldn't leave until I walked around. So I had a little bit of complications after my surgery, but they weren't for the reasons of the surgery. I had gas so bad, and I know you guys probably laugh at that, but it's freaking crazy how gas pains can make you have pain. Or, you know, you wouldn't think of it. So what the procedure involves is them bloating your stomach and filling it with gas so that they're able to see clearly going in and doing their part of the surgery. So now that you're done with it, you have to pass all that gas and get rid of it and get it out of your stomach. And it was just horrible. I just felt like I was just walking in and my back was hurting. And I'm like, what the heck is going on? Like, what is this causing this? That has nothing to do with the area they were working on. So my doctor tells me, she said, it's gas. It's gas. The only way you're going to get rid of it is to walk it off, walk it off, walk it off. So I walked it off enough to get out of the hospital, except it was going to continue for a couple of weeks. Me going through that pain, going through that needing to walk and get everything back moving and back correctly where it was, because they did a lot of poking and prodding in that area. So I watched a couple of videos about the surgery and how it was done. Very interesting and a little bit grossed me out some. So I watched a lot of reviews on what people, you know, had for problems and things like that. So a week later, I just was in so much pain, so much pain. I was literally on the floor crying, and I just needed to go to the emergency room, and I did. So I ended up having an infection in my lung, and it was called pleurisy. So it was just liquid in the lung that caused it to be inflamed. So they gave me an antibiotic, and I already had pain medication, so they didn't do that. They told me just to continue with that. So with the pleurisy, every time I moved, I was in pain. I was done for. It was just crazy. I was in so much freaking pain. I really thought I was having a heart attack. So it was just like a fist balled right under my breast. And then anytime I moved or anytime I laughed or just anything I did just felt like it made it worse. So at night I would have to sleep on like my right side, because on my left side, because it was on my right side. So it was just so uncomfortable. Just I would wake up, be tired because I haven't slept well, and then try not to move a certain way, because if I did, it would agitate what was happening in my lung. It's just a little bit frustrating. So I'm fine for a couple of days, and then I just don't feel good again. And then I check my blood pressure, and it's crazy how it's like 158 over 109, and I'm just like, well, that can't be right. So of course I'm a Googler, so I Googled everything, and you know, it was telling what the average for your blood pressure should be, and I just was, you know, just crazy, like, no, that can't be right. So I checked it again. My boyfriend checked his, and it was a little bit elevated, but not nearly as much as mine. So we leave and go to CVS, and I check my blood pressure there, and it's very high. And I said, you know what, let's go to urgent care. So he took me to urgent care, and they checked my blood pressure as well. Same thing. So the doctor that was on staff there, she really talked to me like I was family. She said, well, if you were my sister, this is what I would recommend. I would recommend you go straight to the hospital, because that could be potentially a stroke level. So those words kind of resonated with me, and we went to St. Joseph's Candler in Savannah, Georgia. So we didn't stay local in South Carolina. We went to Savannah because we'd already been to Coastal for the pleurisy event. So then we went there just to, you know, get a fresh set of eyes and see if they saw anything different. And they are heart people. They deal with heart, you know, specialists and different things like that. So that's where we went. Blood pressure was crazy. They immediately got me into a room. So I'm in the room, and you know, we have great people helping us. They're laughing and joking, and I still have a little bit of pain in my side. It's not excruciating like it was previously the week before, but my blood pressure was their main concern. So they're checking my blood pressure, and of course they can't leave until they get it the bottom number below 100, and it was like at 109, at 104, and it just was not coming down. It was just going up and down, up and down, up and down. We were playing the tag game. So we were there probably about 4 hours and lower it, and then they gave me pain medication as well. Again, everybody was very nice. I really didn't eat anything. I had something to eat before, so I didn't eat anything there. So I was starting to get hungry. But they finally were able to get it down. And we did all kind of tests. I mean, gosh, CAT scan, just any test you can think of, blood tests, all that stuff. That's what we were doing because they were looking for blood clots, and that could be potentially dangerous. So again, doctor comes back and he says the same thing about my lungs and the fluid and the inflammation. So they refer me to a pulmonologist. I believe that's how it's pronounced. So I actually have an appointment with a pulmonologist this coming up Tuesday. And then I have to go back to my regular doctor for my high blood pressure. So my regular doctor just increased my medication, and they'll reevaluate me for the medication I'm currently on, and we'll go from there. But that experience was just like so painful, and just it was everything that I googled pleurisy, and everything that everyone said for that, it was exactly what they said. It really felt like a stabbing in the chest, and it was a pain you just cannot imagine. So I couldn't explain it, or no one could see it. It wasn't something that they were registering as far as my heart looks good, blah blah blah. And I'm just like, okay, but I feel this pain, and nothing they were doing was helping it. Now remember, I'm already on pain medication, and it's one of the probably more potent pain medications that you can be on, and the pain was not going away even with this pain medication. So currently where I'm at, I just had a visit with my gynecologist yesterday, and I go back in 3 weeks to see her. So I have to see the heart specialist, I have to see the doctor about my high blood pressure, and then I go back to my gynecologist to make sure everything's okay in that region. So I feel fine, totally fine. I still have the soreness under my rib, or where my lungs were, not my rib, where my lungs are. And then my tummy, of course, has the scars, and they're just a little delicate, but they're not painful. That area is, it takes about the whole 6 weeks to recover from everything, because they've done extensive work in that area. So everything is going back to normal, like your bowels and your what they took out and all of that. They do test it to see if anything was abnormal. So I did have a cyst on I think a cyst on something that they did. So I had the cyst, and I had the fibroids, and that was another reason for the surgery as well. So apparently what happens with the fibroid, it's that once it gets in the rotation, it just dumps blood. I have 3 more weeks to go. So I see my doctor in 3 more weeks, and we'll have a follow-up by then. And by then I will have seen everybody that needs to be seen as far as doctors, and seeing what they recommend as far as my health, and making sure that I'm up to, feeling great and up to standard, and just, back to whatever. So again, I had the hysterectomy due to a fibroid, heavy bleeding, cramping, and just it couldn't be controlled by other means. And of course, I already have 4 kids. I've had 4 C-sections, so according to a doctor, I shouldn't have more kids because it would be dangerous. And I'm at that stage where I didn't want any more kids, so it's very easy decision for me to do a hysterectomy. A lot of people are like, oh my God, I need that, because I don't want it anymore. But it's not that easy. It wasn't like I decided I didn't want it anymore, so they gave me a surgery and I don't have it anymore. It was a process of going through it. So we're into, this is August. Remember, I told you my journey started November last year. So I've been going through that for a minute. I actually was supposed to have the surgery last year, but I did cancel it due to some work conflicts. And I'm really glad I did. I don't think at that time I was ready mentally to do it, or financially, because you are out of work. But now at this present time, I'm comfortable and I'm okay to do it. And I had the resources and the people to help me to do it, so that helped a lot. So hopefully this video helps somebody in making that decision. If you do have any questions or you have any comments, you can comment below. I know it was a lot of talking that I was just doing, not really integrating anything, but I will put pics and put information below about hysterectomy, or links that you can go to. Or if you have any comments or any questions, just comment below. Again, if you're not a subscriber, it is my first and last name, and I'll put a link there so you can click below and subscribe to the page. This was just a really talk video. I'll probably do a couple of those, but I won't do a lot. Most of my videos will be interactive. They'll have a lot of photos, a lot of music, be kind of fun, or be about travel and different things like that. So I just wanted to give everybody a quick total overview of my surgery and how I feel. I'm going to put a couple of pictures up that are not flattering at all about how bad I looked, and it'll really show you how I felt. I'm so tired, but there's times before my hysterectomy that I was tired because of how much blood I was losing and how much iron I was losing. So it was just a cycle. And my doctor told me that unless I fixed the problem, that cycle would continue. I'd be tired, get a boost of energy, and then go back to being tired again. So there were days where I literally had to drag myself out of bed. One day I was like, you know what? If you don't get up, you're gonna get fired. That's a horrible thing to think, but I was like, it made me get out of bed. I was just like, oh my God, I'm so tired. But if you go to bed and you get 8 hours of sleep and you still wake up tired, then that may be something that you need to do some research into. And it could be something that's been happening. And again, like my doctor said, he said, you just are so used to not feeling good that your body doesn't know how feeling good feels. So I just thought it was normal. So that's my story, my hysterectomy. Again, ended up with a lung infection. I have to see a pulmonologist now. Pulmonary doctor that specializes with lungs. So we'll find out what's going on with that. Hopefully everything's good and he can just maybe put me on antibiotics or something to get rid of the infection. So what the concern is there is that that infection turns into pneumonia. But I'm not having any problems except for the shortness of breath. I'm not having any problems with that, so hopefully nothing comes of that. So I will keep you guys updated, and hopefully everything goes well. My hair is different in a couple of the pictures that I'll put in. So I changed my hair after the surgery. So before the surgery it was shorter, and I'll show you a couple of pics of me after the surgery so that you do understand the amount of strain I was under, and don't judge me. But again, if you have any comments or any questions, just link below, and then I will just comment below, and I will try and answer those as best to my knowledge as I can. I did ask a lot of questions, and so did my boyfriend. I'm a Google person. Like, I Google everything. So he could tell me the sky is blue and I'd still Google it to make sure the sky was blue. So that is another thing that was like crazy for me, because I just Googled everything. But again, just a quick video to give you guys some, you know, background on that surgery and what's happening. Again, I'm still 3.5 weeks in, so I haven't finished. So I'll just give you a quick update the next time we see each other, and we'll go from there. Again, if you are interested in my channel, please subscribe and like the videos, or give comments on other topics you would like me to talk about.